Welcome to day 3 of Mingy NYC. Today I want to tell you a little bit about a story that happened a couple days ago on November 9th, 2023. It was the day that I got to see a person who I really look up to and who is of huge inspiration to literally everything I do. And you probably know him. If you're in the YouTube space, you probably know Casey Neistat. So ever since I moved to New York City a couple of months ago, one of the things that I've been really excited about is to maybe see him live in the streets, whether he's filming a video or something. Sony, the camera brand, had an event where it was basically like a marketing event to showcase kind of their like newest products, especially the Sony A9 whatever, like their latest camera that's about to come out or something. It was a really cool event. It was over 2 days and it was open to the public for free. You would get in. There's all this gear that you would get to like test out, and there's all these like cool sets with models and where you can like grab a camera and take some photos and just practice your photography, your videography. And there were these talks, like all these really established people in the photography world or in the videography world, where they would just give talks. And Casey was one of the guests. On the second day, he came to give a talk. And I was there, and I had my camera and I documented some of the things that he talked about, and I want to share with you 4 pieces of advice that he shared with us that really changed the game for me and how I view YouTube, how I view filmmaking, and honestly how I view the concepts of work and life. Also inspired me to begin the series where I post these videos at least one every day, and you're about to find out why.
When I uploaded my first daily vlog, I'd already been on YouTube for 7 or 8 years. In 7 or 8 years, I've accumulated 100 million views, which I'm very proud of.
Hell yeah.
And I think something like 280,000 or 410,000 subscribers. And from the first daily vlog, 18 months later, I was at 10 million subscribers.
Yeah.
And a few billion views. So like my trajectory was like this. It was this bumpy, slow, very subtle incline, and then just exploded. And I credit that explosion not to making better work, but to people understanding who I was.
Yeah.
And some people, more than not, were like, I enjoy watching this kind of content. Oh, there's more. The next morning they'd wake up and they're like, oh, there's a little bit more. Continue that for like 800 straight days, and you build this really profound relationship with the audience.
Yeah.
And my role now is just to make the work as good as I can make it, and the audience kept showing up.
Yeah.
That really opened my eyes to the importance of, like he was talking about, having a relationship with the person on the other side of the screen, and how the only way you're able to achieve that ever is to be able to build a body of work where you're constantly showing up.
That's another reason why I think like trying to do that today would be very different, because I think the appetite of viewers has changed so much in the last decade, and I think there's nothing novel about putting out work in such a manic pace. I think the world has really changed, but back then it was a very effective way of building a relationship with an audience.
That's the only thing that I don't know if I agree with him. I mean, maybe back in the day, yes, it was a lot easier to kind of build that relationship and explore that format. But I think today we've gone so much in the opposite direction. If you know YouTube, you know Mr. Beast, obviously, he's one of the biggest guys. He built this style, this format that is being so repeated by people these days, and honestly it's almost like it's the only format that people think it works, and it might just be, I don't know, but I think that we've gone so far in the opposite direction, in that direction of Mr. Beast, I think people are craving for that old YouTube vibe, for that slower pace, relationship based, not so much idea based kind of content. I really believe that. That's why I'm sticking to this format.
I think I was like the best version when I was uploading daily, because, and I talked about this in so many of my daily vlogs, but like, what is it? Perfection is the enemy of good enough or something?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Don't make perfection the enemy of good.
Yeah, and like, when you have an obligation to post every day, and it felt like there was a gun to my head. I had to post every day. Self-imposed. I was holding the gun. I didn't have time to stop and think like, is this a worthy idea?
Right.
Like there were some days where I had nothing, and I'm like, fuck, I've got nothing. How do I make this work? How can I come up with 5 to 7 minutes of interestingness? That pressure is so positive for an artist, because like I don't have that pressure anymore. And on top of that, like I couldn't afford rent back then, and now I'm like, I have a degree of financial security where like I'm not worried about paying rent this month or paying for lunch tomorrow. And what that does is it's like I get into my office and it's like, time to make the donuts. Let's get to work and make a video. And then it's like, you know what else is cool? Watching TV. And I just fuck off every day. And I have nothing to show for it. So that
I don't know. You're making it sound pretty tight.
that pressure of having to do it is really positive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I'm old school in this, but like when I had an office job and I had to show up every day, it made me a little better for some reason. Like when I was really, really broke and had to support my family, I wanted to be I worked in a restaurant as a dishwasher. I was the best dishwasher. On a Saturday night when we were down to one dishwasher, it was supposed to be two, that bus bucket was never full. I was the best dishwasher because I had to be.
Yeah.
And now like 3 dishes, I'd be like, I'm gonna watch TV. So that pressure is really positive.
Yeah.
And I don't think it has to be as manic of a video every day to imbue that pressure. But I think putting requirements on yourself, ones that have consequences.
Yeah.
I didn't post every day, my income would have gone away. Having that is ultimately for an artist a really positive thing.
Yeah.
That was another, again, piece of advice that he shared that I was like, bro, this is it. This is it. As an artist, you need that limitation. You need that time limit. You need that deadline to push you to create. And if you don't do that, as he was saying, you end up doing nothing but procrastinating or taking way longer to do things.
If you have an inkling of creativity in your being, which we all do, you have second guessed yourself before. This picture is not good enough to post. This video is not good enough. That idea is not good enough. I'm not going to tell him about this. I'm not going to tell her because it's stupid.
Yeah.
When you have to post a fucking video every day,
It's good enough.
there's no second guessing yourself. It is just go.
Yeah.
It is just go. You don't get to look back. You don't get to pause and think. That last video I uploaded about the Lululemon thing, which I think I was really proud of that video. I thought it turned out really fun. That took me like 2 months to make because I was just like, nah, stupid idea. That doesn't work. Maybe I'm back to watching TV. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
And when I had a daily video, I never had the opportunity to second guess my own creativity or ideas. And that made me that means some work I put out was a 6 instead of a 10. That makes you better. Like finishing something, putting the stamp on it and moving on makes you better. It's having all of these unfinished things that flame the fire of insecurity.
Yeah.
And it scare you, that make you not want to create. And forcing yourself to finish, move on, it does make you better. And I miss that all the time.
So right, like what can I say? There's not much to build on top of that. Like I've kind of mentioned this in a previous video. I've always been this guy who really struggled with starting something and finishing it. I've always been like such a huge dreamer, but that comes with a really, annoying consequence, which is I want to do it all. And by wanting to do it all, you have this huge FOMO of, oh my gosh, I'm doing something. What if I was doing that other thing? And that paralyzes you. That doesn't let you finish anything. You can't commit to anything. For a couple of years now, I've kind of become aware of this about me. And after listening to him talk about it, I realized, wow, this has a connection with the videos as well. I need to be constantly starting, finishing it. That's why I want so bad to finish the episode 6 and the season, the tennis series that I started a year ago. I can't move on to the next thing before finishing it. There's really something special about this process of starting something and finishing it over and over and over again.
First on the hustle culture thing, there is a certain toxicity to hustle culture. But I also think that I think the glorification of hustle culture 5-6 years ago was pretty stupid. And I was a part of it, but I still think it was pretty stupid. But I still think it's correct.
Yeah.
I can tell you I've had the privilege of meeting throughout my life, whether when I was a tech entrepreneur, a filmmaker, an athlete, any of the things that I've done in my career, there is a direct correlation with the most successful people and the hardest working people.
Yeah.
I don't know one person, I haven't met one person in my life who's at the top of their industry who didn't work harder than everyone else. That is facts. So it's toxic and working all the time and not sleeping and sacrificing your health and all that, it's fucking tough. But if you want it, Yeah, there's a shitty, fucked up price to pay, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
That really also changed it all for me, this fourth and final piece of advice. And the reason why is, you know, if there's anything you should know about me, is probably that I was always this huge self-help guy. And I started really early on. When I was about really 15, 16, I started to get into the self-help world. And it wasn't until 3 or 4 years ago that I got out of it. And because I was in it for so long, I kind of started going the opposite direction. I turned my back on all of it for a really long time. And for about a year or so, I've begun to try to find this balance in between, like, filtering what's right and good and what's not so good and toxic. But listening to Casey talk about that, it's so true. Like, there's not a story of someone who succeeded and that person didn't work really hard. There are stories of people that worked really hard, but didn't work out because it was too toxic or something else happened. But the stories of people who succeeded, the stories of success, all of it came with hard work, and there's nothing that beats hard work. So yeah, this day and this, like, whole experience, to be honest, of seeing him live and listening to these things that he talked about really changed it all for me. And again, really inspired me to start this series. And I really believe in the potential of it. So I'm really excited to keep going with it and complete all 40 days. So overall, it's been a good day. I was able to get some work done for my job, which I'm yet to kind of talk about it. And I will in the next few videos, and uploading the video this morning didn't take as much time as it did for the first one. The first one took me about like 5 or 6 hours. This time it only took like 3, the whole thing, like editing it, exporting it, then uploading it, doing thumbnail and whatnot. And I'm hoping, like, the more I do it, the less and less time it's gonna take me. So hopefully tomorrow it takes me less than that time, than 3 hours to upload this video. So, by the way, the movie yesterday, amazing movie, Past Lives. I really cannot recommend enough. So yeah, tomorrow it's Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving Eve. Tomorrow I'll be going to the parade with Kelly. I don't know what else we're going to be doing, but we're definitely going to the parade. I'm going to be documenting all that and make that be the video. So I hope to see you tomorrow for that. Thanks for watching.